Today, we're going to be checking out a brand new pedal from a brand new company, the Iron Scourge from Lahar Effects. Now, is it Lahar? I don't know. Like I said, it's a brand new company. I'm not sure if I'm saying it wrong. I'm sure I'll be corrected. I just wanted to let everybody know. I'm not 100%. I've only seen it spelled, but I'm pretty sure it spells Lahar Effects. That spells Lahar Effects, right? I'm pretty sure. Now, before we get to the rest of the video, I just wanted to say that I don't really get paid to make these videos. Actually, as a matter of fact, I pay a lot of money to make these videos, to buy gear and whatnot. But I do it because I love it. I love, cool gear. I love writing music and making cool videos. So I do have a Sweetwater affiliate link down below. That would greatly support the channel. If you like what I do and want to help support me, that's a way you can do it with. You don't even have to send me money. You just go buy something cool from Sweetwater using my link. You don't have to pay anything extra, and I get a percentage of it, and it would really help. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. So the Iron Scourge, which the name should definitely give away what it's going for, and if you haven't figured it out yet, I might have what it's going for on my shirt. But essentially, it's going for a dual rectifier preamp boosted by a Maxon ST9 Pro Plus style overdrive, which is what Cannibal Corpse do. Now, for that in mix, you heard just the pedal with my guitar going into the power section of my Rev G. I think it actually sounded pretty boss and very dual rectifier-y, very Cannibal Corpse-y. I was pleasantly surprised with how good this thing sounded. Now, a little bit of backstory on Lahar and the Iron Scourge and how this came about. So Lahar is a new effects pedal company from the mastermind behind HM2 Cult. You might remember them from the channel because I've had their Stockholm on the channel before, both in a short video that I did recently as well as a full demo of it a little while back. And they collaborated with the mastermind over at Dunwich, who I absolutely love their stuff. I think they make great stuff, and he'd been working on this off and on for about 3 years. This is definitely a labor of love, and it shows with how just damn good the thing sounds. So what are this thing's features? Well, this thing, of course, because it's going for a dual rectifier sound, it has bass, middle, treble. It has that presence control, very important on a dual rectifier. I mean, that's where a lot of that top end fizz comes from with those. A volume control, a gain control, and then, of course, you have a response control, which I take to be more like the bold and spongy kind of control that you would find on the back of a dual rectifier. Essentially, bold, it's more of a bold in your face, kind of faster sounding, spongy being a spongier, kind of slower response, more kind of like their low end's been described as like a flat tire. I think that's probably the best way to describe it, but you'll definitely see that it gets more low end when I mess around with that switch. And then of course you have the switchable boost, which just has more or less of the boost. Pretty simple. So now we've gone over that and I've heard it in a mix. Let's hear it outside of a mix. So I wanted to be as corpsing as possible. So while I don't have a red Ironbird, I do have a red star-shaped guitar. I have my RIP Star Destroyer, and that is loaded with a Fishman Fluence Modern humbucker, which is exactly what Cannibal Corpse use. I had that going into the Iron Scourge, and then, like I said, into the power section of my Mesa Dual Rectifier Rev G. Now, I wanted to do that because I also want to compare it to that Rev G, because I figured, you know, I have a dual rec. Let's see how close it gets. Now, I will say that all the different revisions of the dual rectifier all kind of sound a bit different. And this is going for, I believe, a revision F, not a revision G. Now, I can't say for certain, you know, how much different they sound because I've never gotten to play one for myself and compare them, but that could account for some of the differences. And also, of course, it's a pedal versus the actual preamp of the amplifier. So there are some differences. Even still, though, the thing sounds great. Now, I don't want anyone to accuse me of saying, well, of course it sounds like a dual rectifier. You're plugging it into the power section of a dual rectifier. So we'll also hear it briefly into the power section of my Friedman BE50 Deluxe. That way it's going into something that's very different. You know, it's going into a more Marshall-y style power section and not at all similar to the dual rectifier power section, which is kind of unique with its presence control. But you'll be able to hear there that it also still sounds good and brutal there. And then, of course, I'm going to directly compare to the actual dual rec that I have, the Rev G, and I'm going to be boosting that with my own Maxon ST9 Pro Plus, which I was actually just about to demo myself before I was hit up in there and asked me if I wanted to be a part of the launch of the new pedal, especially for what it was going for. I was absolutely down with how much I love Cannibal Corpse, so you'll actually should be keeping an eye out for that ST9 Pro video, because that's coming in the very near future, and that thing sounds killer, especially on a dual rectifier. So that's enough talking about all the features, everything it does, where it came from. Let's actually hear all these in and out of mix examples, and then we'll talk about it. Let's check it out. So like I said, there's definitely some differences. It's a bit darker. It doesn't have a ton of that fizz that you get with an actual Rev G, and it also had a bit more mid-range. The Rev G sounds best scooped. I mean, this also sound better scooped. I had this set basically exactly how I have my actual dual rectifier set. that's where it sounded best to me, which is another indication of just how close they got it, that it sounds good set up the same way. But yeah, it was a little bit darker and a little bit more mid-range in there. Not as scooped, which again is fine. Sounded really killer. As you heard, it sounded killer through the Friedman as well. But I'd be curious to know your thoughts. These are going to be available pretty soon. I believe they're just announcing that, and I am going to end up putting a link down below so you guys can check this out if you like. But again, would love to know your comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay metal.